G'day you beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over this build called Felix, which is for Zinx. Okay, this is a build that I adjusted after witnessing a friend of mine go absolutely apeshit ham as Zinx the other day. It's pretty much the exact same build, but it's just the end game that is adjusted. Pretty much, if we just get down to it, the end of the build, I just, instead of running the 2 extra cards, just go straight Godmother all the way, because it just makes sense. So, starting off, we have Exoskeleton. It's going to reduce damage taken from enemy heroes by 8%, meaning that you can go straight into Vitality if you want at the start of the game and pick this up. It's going to give you a little bit more sustain. Or you can go and spend that on Highwayman, which I believe to be a very, very good card, especially considering the enemy mid laner or the enemy support, depending on where you're playing Zinx, is going to be pokeable. It's going to give you a lot of cash, so whichever way you want to go with getting Exoskeleton first or Highwayman first, totally up to you, but they're very, very good cards. Next up we have Flame of Zechen, or Zechen, whichever, which I'm sure everyone knows about this card by now. Deal 500 true damage to neutral or enemy minions, meaning any minion in the game. Even prime buff. It's very, very good. It has Cultivate, which means that it's going to cost less with each point that you've already purchased. And it can be quite good. I don't actually tend to use it too often, but it's always good to just have it on your growth decks, because you can get some good prime steals if you keep it on long enough. So scrolling down, we have Vital Waters. It's a very good card for Zinx when you're up to about 7 Vitality, because the health that she gets back after she takes damage from her ultimate is actually classed as healing. So this will increase those healing benefits by 15%. Then we have Trapper, which used to be part of my full build, which I'm not actually running as part of the full build now, but it is still there as an option if I want to go down that path. And it's simply basic attacks reduce enemy movement speed by 10 for 5 seconds, stacking up to 10 seconds. Stacking up to 10 times. After max stacks, root your target for 1 second. So it's pretty much a phase root. And then if you scroll down, we are using Order, so we have Lamplighter. It's just a no-brainer if you're running Order. You'll always have wards, and for the same reason we have Protective Sentry. I would probably, with this build that we're going to be running, as far as the endgame card goes, not even bother getting Protective Sentry. Just the 300 points going into the Shadow wards on Lamplighter. It's a lot better, just being able to pop 2 down whenever you feel like it. And another card that is just there because it is good is Brilliant Fortification. As I've said multiple times now, it is just good to have in your deck whenever you're running Order, so that if you have the 1000 to spend and the 4 intellect, you can go and protect your tier 2s or your inhibs or your core from damage being done to it while you wipe the enemy team. Then we have Stagnant Dominion, another card that was in my old max build. Ability damage slows enemy movement speed by 150, and this coupled with Trapper, just having the option of being able to slow people, I just feel like it's very, very strong. A lot of people are actually running Stagnant Dominion on their Iggy's now, because they realize just how strong that slow actually is. Then we have Sacred Alchemy. Gain a shield equal to 20% of basic damage dealt. This was my other card that I used in my full build. So it was Trapper, Sacred Alchemy, and Godmother Vigilant. Sacred Alchemy is very good because it does provide you shields, and Godmother Vigilant just increases your max health. But I have gone away from wanting to run those other 2 cards now and just Godmother Vigilant, because the amount of health that you can get on this girl, you know how bad her damage can be. I'm sure you've been poked by Zinx. It does definitely hurt, and her having an insanely high health pool is only going to help her more, because it does mean if you do run out of mana, you've got enough health there to ensure that you're going to get a bit of mana back, or at least have the health to sustain and get you out. Tanks are very much a thing right now, and if you're not playing tanks or having tanks on your team that are just running Godmother Vigilant, maybe you should try it because it works so very, very well. Now, as far as gems go, I actually have 4 running on Vitality. One is damage reduction, that is on our slot 7. On our slot 13, I run damage return. She's going to be copying a lot of damage, so returning 10% of that basic damage is going to be helpful. You're still going to take that damage though, and I run that with ability armor. Next up we have Consume the Dead with ability armor. After killing an enemy unit, you're healed for 15% of the enemy's max health over 3 seconds. It's very good on her. You could argue going for Ferocity, considering she can get to lower amounts of health and stay there longer, so she can maintain that attack speed. You could also go for Reflexive Purify. That would be very arguably a good option, but we're taking Consume the Dead. And then we have Armor Aura with a ability armor on there. As far as the other options here, you have Avenging Spells, which can work because you're going to cop a lot of hits, so reducing your cooldowns might be helpful. The improved health regen, you could argue, could be good, but I would just stick with Armor Aura for that one. And then on Intellect, I run Spellburn personally with ability armor. You could argue that Mana Fountain might be a good shout, and I wouldn't disagree with you on that, but I actually go with the Spellburn. That is my personal preference. And then for our slot 19, I go for Spell Shield. Now this obviously is going to block the next enemy ability every 55 seconds. It's very, very good. That's going to allow her to take more damage because she's not copying that one hit. And it will make people play a lot different when you are around. You'll notice that, especially if you're going against a team that doesn't have verbal communication, it's hard to organize, for someone to proc that spell shield so that you can get off a stun or something like that. Like if you were against a Gideon and you knew they were going to ult and they had spell shield, if you're not on comms with people, it's hard to sort of organize to say to a certain hero, right, you gadget, you throw a bomb onto Gideon and get that spell shield off, so if he does ult, we can stun him out of it. So it is very, very, very handy. You could argue going for Ruthless Spells. It will potentially make it do a little bit more damage. And reactive spells as well will work much the same way as what other options will do. You take ability damage and your cooldowns get reduced. You can't really go wrong with it, but I personally think Spell Shield is the better way to go. So that is the build for Zinx that I have stupidly named Felix. It is quite good, as I mentioned. The sort of main build that I had was Godmother Vigilant, was Trapper, and I think I was going for Stagnant Dominion at one stage, but personally I actually think that Vital Waters or going for Wards is kind of a better option, but Godmother Vigilant on its own is disgustingly good on her. Anyone that you want to run a tank, just put order on them and just run Godmother Vigilant and you will have some fun. So that is it, guys. Hope you liked the video. If you did, smash the like button. If you do go on to try the build and you like it, let me know in the comment section down below, because I would love to hear that you've had success with it, and subscribe if you're not already, guys. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. I love your face, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.